Good morning, Business Marketing Technology Pathway students, marketing, sales, and service seniors. It's me, Mr. Cheney, with another brilliant lecture and tutorial. We're going to continue our notes page on the job application process, the job search unit, and today we're going to do pages 3 and 4 on the notes. So page 3 has to do with marketing yourself, networking, and it talks about what an elevator pitch is and how you might develop an elevator pitch for getting this retail sales associate job that we're going to be doing a mock interview for. The 4th page actually goes through the application process itself. So I'm going to be providing a PDF version of the application so that those of you who have the ability to download and print it, that you can do that, because we're going to need a physical copy filled out with ink. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy off a bunch of copies of this application, and I'm going to have those available at the front office or in the library so that you can come and pick it up when needed. So let's go through the material and get to the end of this first job search unit process. So we're going to start with where we left off last time, which was marketing yourself. So marketing isn't just about marketing goods and services. It's also about learning how to market yourself. So we're going to look at some articles on how to market yourself. You want to broadcast your resume like everywhere, so you get yourself out there. For every 20 places you submit your resume, you may get one response. So, especially in job markets that are tough. So there will be a chart that we look at here that kind of shows us where the industries are as of 2019, kind of where all the jobs were, and then we'll move on to the application process. So let's go here. Very first thing: 6 great ways to market yourself. Is right here, and I will put this link actually on the assignment so you can read through it yourself. I'm just going to do kind of a summary right here. So 6 great ways to market yourself. I will not read this verbatim. I just want to kind of go through the headings. So number 1, identify a target audience. Number 2, know your USP. So USP is unique selling points. Okay, number 3, a way with words. So I will read this. Your terminology can be important when applying for a new role. Understand what key phrases and buzzwords are particularly sought after by potential employers in your industry. Certain jobs in specific sectors may look out for particular skills and training. If these buzzwords genuinely apply to you, use them. So, as an example, the teaching industry, there are lots of buzzwords and phrases that you need to have on your resume, and you need to know what to talk about when you're in that interview versus if you were just applying for like an office job. So that's definitely an advantage when you can use those words, buzzwords, and terminology. Number 4, show a little personality. 5, keep your finger on the pulse. So what that means is keep up to date with any developments and news in your industry to ensure your knowledge is always relevant and well informed. So just a preview for when you're actually in the interview, a lot of people at the end of an interview, say, do you have any questions for us? And you just got done with them asking you a bunch of questions, and then they'll ask that at the end. And one of the biggest mistakes is not having a question at the end. And it doesn't have to be like a deep probing question. Like, you just have to like go on their website and read about the latest news of that company and just ask a question for clarity or for more information, and that's where you're going to make an impression. Number 6, be web savvy. So those are the 6 things that they talk about as far as marketing yourself. You can read every word here once I put this link onto the assignment. So let's go back. Now we're going to talk about networking and the elevator pitch. So I'll play this video here.
Networking. It's a skill that comes easy to some, but for tons of people, myself included, it's a skill that's acquired. Research shows that referrals are a top source of hires, meaning those personal relationships, they can really pay off. So we're revealing the secrets of networking and answering the question we've all asked at some point. Is who you know more important than what you know? For years, athletes have used science and data analysis to improve. Now, we are doing the same for job seekers everywhere. This is Job Science. When it comes to networking and social events, there is nothing wrong with going alone. Putting yourself in a position to talk to new people, it's actually a good thing. You never know who you'll meet, who they might know, or how they can contribute to finding your next job. Meet Jess, a retail sales associate. She's attending her first ever Fashion Career Expo. A cool way to break the ice in a group setting is by wearing something that pops. It makes for a good conversation starter.
Hey, I love your shoes.
Thank you, I just got them. I'm Jess.
Rhea. Nice to meet you.
Be yourself. That is the most important thing here. There's no need to try to be someone else or someone you're not. If you're looking to start an authentic relationship, it's key to ask about the other person first.
So what brings you here?
I'm actually a buyer.
I'm a sales associate.
Cool, so...
The head tilt. This is the universal sign that says, I'm listening, purely through body language. And while you are listening, do so empathetically and with curiosity about the other person's career.
Ben.
Oh, Jess recognizes someone. That is what happens when you research your connections. This can help you focus your energy on talking to the right people.
I haven't seen you since we worked together. How are you?
I'm great. I'm actually managing another boutique not too far from here.
Once you've made a genuine connection, feel free to bring up the topic of jobs, even if it doesn't come up naturally in the conversation.
Hey, do you happen to need any sales associates or stylists, Steven?
Let's pause here. The brain can actually detect confidence in another's voice. Jess, she's definitely feeling herself. Smooth.
I'm looking.
Oh, yeah, I'll pass along your info. You have any business cards?
Yeah.
It's always good to have your business card and resume on you, especially at these kinds of things, but only give them out when asked for.
Rhea. Ben, this is Rhea.
Nice. You know, once in a while, think of people you know who should know each other but don't, and then introduce them. Follow up to see if their meeting was worthwhile. This one's all about paying it forward. This was the breakdown of networking. Till next time.
Okay, so those are some excellent tips on how to give an elevator pitch, different ways of networking, and why they're important. So this is another link that I will put on the assignment so that you can read through the entire thing. And once you get back over to your notes page, which let's show you the notes page here. Okay, so we're talking about page 3 right now. What are the 6 ways to market yourself? That was the first article. The video we just watched talked about networking. You want to put down 3 things that you learned from that video, as well as the elevator pitch stuff for page 3. So moving on here, let's go to one more article. Okay, so 9 things to avoid on social media while looking for a job. People forget that people that are giving jobs actually look at social media. In fact, it's the majority of people, especially if you are seeking jobs in, well, what's now the traditional way. So if, LinkedIn and that sort of thing. So 9 things to avoid on social media while looking for a job. We'll just go through these quickly because I know you guys know how to read and you can read through the details. So 1, looking like a bad worker. Number 2, turning off social media. So I've seen that happen too as a hiring manager. So like when you find an employee that like has zero social media, that's actually kind of a red flag, and there are ways with different softwares where you can find cached, C-A-C-H-E-D, cached profiles of older social media things. So that's not really, it's kind of a red flag, like just turning everything off. It's like deleting a tweet. Like, it's, you know, you don't really want to do that when you're looking for a job. Forgetting to proofread stuff, having a split personality, so being one person on social media and being somebody totally different as far as work is concerned. Inconsistencies. So I'll read this one. If your LinkedIn says 3 years in finance, but your Facebook feed's got a picture of you in a Starbucks uniform from last year, that's a pretty big red flag. So make sure that things are consistent. Poor communication is another one. Complaints about your current job. So I see that a lot too. People just write on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever. They just straight up complain about their job to thousands of people at a time. And going back to like the networking thing, like you could be talking to a future employer when you're complaining about your job, and why would they want to hire you if you just complain about your job all the time? So that's kind of a big one. Being negative and not being yourself. So those are the different things about that this article talks about as far as avoiding on social media when you're looking for a new job. Okay. Where is this chart? There we go. So as far as total employed people in 2019, and this is on your notes page as well, the largest sector was education and health services. Second was wholesale and retail. And then third, professional and business services. So that made up the bulk of the job categories, but then you got down to fourth was manufacturing, then leisure and hospitality, then construction, then financial activities, transportation, utilities, other services, public administration, and then so forth. So just to give you an idea of the different sectors and where they were in 2019 as far as where the jobs were. Okay, so make sure you got page 3 finished. It had to do with marketing yourself. It had to do with the networking. It had to do with the elevator pitch. That was all on a couple of the websites, one video. I will post those on the assignment for you to review. Now we're going to talk about the actual application, job application that is. Okay, so here is some basic information about the job application. The purpose of the application is to provide the employer with standard information on every application. Your resume is where you can highlight individual skills. So the application typically it's used as a screening tool to weed out applicants that are not qualified. Once you sign the application and are hired, it becomes a legal and binding contract. So don't lie on your application. When completing a hard copy application, use black or blue ink, and create a sample application to use as a source of information. It will make the completing those applications faster because you'll have all that information for you. So when I run off these applications, I'm actually going to have enough so that you can have 2. My suggestion, do 1 in pencil and then do your final one in ink, because you'll be using the one in ink to physically turn in. And it should have all of your information in neat, legible writing for this project. So, hard copy versus online. Your hard copy or your sample application can be used as a reference document. It's got all your correct addresses on it, your phone numbers, the dates of employment if you had previous applications. So it's a way that you have all your information in front of you when you're filling out a different application. So you kind of want to have your sample application with you. When completing an application online, having that hard copy to refer to can speed up the process and make sure that you're accurate. So you're not trying to remember, like, when did I have that Starbucks job? Was it 2018? Was it so you're not guessing. So you have all the information in front of you. Many online or kiosk applications are timed, so if you've been in a Target store, you've probably seen the areas where you can actually sit down and fill out an application. And that's where having that hard copy application with you would be great, because if it is timed, you can actually have all the information available and fill it out really quickly. Oftentimes, applying online will include a test. So typically, they want to determine customer service as far as ethics and honesty is concerned. So I've seen that as well. So let's take a look at some other tips for the online application process, which will be right here. Oh, let's skip that because apparently that link is a bad link. I will find that and attach it. No problem. Okay. So, moving on. Okay. When applying for a job, arrive prepared to complete the application on the spot. Have your sample application and a black or blue pen with you. Don't think that they're going to provide everything for you. So this is just another little tip that will kind of separate you from the pack of other people who are trying to get the job. If you're prepared with all the stuff, that's a great thing. Read through the application first before you begin filling it out to ensure that you put information in the correct place. Follow all instructions. Be neat. Take your time. Tailor your answers to the job you are applying for. Don't just put like general answers for any job. You want to know, using those buzzwords like we talked about before for the marketing part. Don't leave blanks. Put NA or not applicable if the question does not apply to you. Otherwise, the screener will think you skipped the question or couldn't answer it. Okay, so a lot of people forget this part. This is on your notes page. Don't leave blanks. Okay, and the reason why is because the person going through your application is going to think that you skipped it or you couldn't answer it. Don't be negative. Don't put down previous employers. The reason for leaving, didn't pay me enough. That's a bad reason for, you can't put that. That's negative. Okay, be honest. The application will become your employment contract, and lying can be grounds for termination. Okay, if the application asks for expected salary, put negotiable. If your response is lower than they were willing to offer, you gypped yourself out of money. And if your response is too high, they may not interview you because they can't afford you. Okay, so that's really important. That's why you do not put salary information. And this is a mistake that happens more frequently than it should. So when it asks for salary expected, put negotiable. Especially, you would hate to think that like you put $8 an hour, whatever, and then they were willing to pay 12, but they're not going to tell you that. Like if you put 8, they're going to pay you 8. Okay, never put your social security number on a hard copy application. Put provide upon employment. So protect that social security number. It is not legally, you do not have to put it on there. You can put provide upon employment. Make sure that you provide complete references, name, address, phone number, email. Yes, reputable companies do check up on your references. I get calls for references all the time. So make sure that they are correct, and don't put a reference down that you think is going to not speak highly of you. Your resume should provide consistent information with the application, so everything that's on your application should jive with your resume. Proofread and make sure that you haven't misspelled words. That will for sure eliminate you from interviews. When I used to interview way back in my fast food days, almost immediately, if I had a choice between applicants and I saw one that just misspelled a bunch of stuff on the application, in the garbage. And that happens. It's not just me, I'm telling you. Remember, sign the document. And the reason you have to sign it because it's a legal document at that point. It's a contract. Okay, so we are going to I'm going to give you 2 copies like I said. So one's going to be for a pencil or rough draft. You got to make sure you have reference data for this. References can be teachers, previous employers, friends of the family, that sort of thing. It's kind of tough to use mom or dad because they're kind of biased, but in a pinch you probably could, but it's better to have someone that's not. So rough draft and hard copy what's today? Thursday. So we're probably going to give you a good week on this. So I think next Thursday and Friday will be the due date for the actual hard copy applications. Again, I'm going to attach the PDF file. So those of you who have the ability, you can download it, print it yourself, so you can have as many copies as you need. Otherwise, I'm going to have a big old stack of these ready to go in the front office in the library, so you can come and get at least 2, because you're going to need a rough draft and the final draft. Final draft's going to be in black ink or blue ink. Okay, so that's that. Make sure that you fill out your notes page all the way. So let's go review that notes page real quick. So on our notes page today, we talked about 6 ways of marketing yourself. That was in an article. We watched a video about networking and the elevator pitch. You need to fill out right here what your elevator pitch would be for this retail associate's job. Page 4, we talked about what not to do on social media. That was another article. I had a chart that showed where were most of the jobs in 2019. You can refer to this video to find that information again. Application basics we went over. So what are the 2 purposes of a job application? What does a job application become upon being hired? Okay. Why is it a good idea to have a hard copy sample application? What are the 7 tips for how to fill out an online job application? How should you tailor your answers? Why shouldn't you leave blanks? Why shouldn't you put salary info? I answered those questions. And how should you list job history, which was on the slide, and I'll just mention it now that you want to put your most recent job first. Okay, so once this notes page is done, okay, that's the 50 points for this assignment that's on Google Classroom. So I'll just show you that real quick on Google Classroom. Okay, so the assignment we're talking about, introduction job search right here. And so we're looking at, I changed it to 40 points, my bad. It's 40 points, 10 points per page of the notes. So make sure you have all 4 pages filled out on this notes page. Now we're gonna start the job application process. I'm gonna make an assignment for that. Then we're doing resume and cover letters. So for the next 2 weeks, we're gonna cover application, resume, and cover letter. All working towards our final project, which is our final exam for the first semester, which is a mock interview, which we're setting up currently. If you have any questions, refer back to this video. And of course, during class, if you need clarity from me live, that's my job, and I'm willing and able and love to do it, so let me know. And that's it. That is part 3 of the job search unit.